Olá, boa tarde. Hi, good afternoon. First of all, congratulations for this organization, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here, to share some thoughts and share a design project that I and my team and I did for Lisbon municipality. But before going on, I really would like to express my gratitude for our colleagues that in the ground, near institutions, near the governments, near Europe, around the world, are defending our profession and the values that we believe on. So I'm so grateful for APAP and IFLA. Thank you very much. And when I was invited to present this project, I thought that, well, what am I going to do? This project is not finished, so don't expect to see a beautiful pictures of a project of a public park. You're just going to see some reflections, because I thought that what am I going to show to landscape architects? I know that you are not all landscape architects, but when we share a project, in this case a garden design project, with the audience, which is mainly composed by landscape architects, we don't want just to show the very beautiful endings. We want to share the experience, receiving things, comments, and that's how we can grow and can evolve. So thank you very much for this opportunity of sharing this with you. So the project that I'm going to talk a bit about, it's Pontinha Park, Parque Verde Lisboa, Parque Verde de Pontinha. It's a park that competition was launched by the municipality of Lisbon with the purpose of establish a 23 hectares size park to start being a public park and eventually becoming a place to receiving recreation infrastructures or big events or amusement parks. We don't know. We're just told that in the competition that it should work as a public park. It should address the current issues on climate, on resources, on maintenance. It should be provide for noise blocking for the neighborhoods that are around, because the park is supposed to be there. And that's the point I would like to bring here for reflection. Sometimes we park designers, and I don't mind to call myself, I'm a landscape architect, and I do believe in landscape architecture, but I love design parks, I love design gardens. And sometimes we are with this, what society expects, and the way, and landscape architecture has a strong role on that. Parks became infrastructures, became ecological infrastructures. From there we went to landscape planning and so on. And sometimes when we design something for amusement, for beauty, for public pleasure, I would say that we are in the risk of being sunk in nature-based solutions, climate changes, biodiversity, fragmentation, and I think floods, and I think all of that is really important. But let me just reflect a bit on this and not forget where all of these start. So I think I'm not going to give a lecture on landscape history, but just reflecting on this. Gardens appear for human pleasure. That thing that happened somewhere thousands of years ago of discovering agriculture and human communities starting to work more and more and more and more to produce, and the consequence, the rising of population, that also brings the need for relaxation and so gardens appear. That's my reflection. Gardens appear for that, to provide pleasure, relaxation, beauty, good things for people that have to work a lot. And they were really restrained for the first gardens for privates. And they do contrast. They are really different from the surrounding landscape. They don't copy nature, the first gardens. They has these Persian gardens, which they are so much orthogonal, so much Euclidean. And the nature outside is not like that. But we evolved. Garden design evolved, but geometry was always there, but closed. It's always by creating sceneries, creating paradises which were closed to the surrounding landscapes. And that's what happened all over the world. In Italy, in Persia, in China, they are closed landscapes, the first gardens. They are not open to the surrounding landscape. Something happened very interesting with the Renaissance and Baroque. Gardens start open to the surrounding landscape. Maybe the surrounding landscape became more humanized, so that's why they were more attracted by the surrounding landscape. So this is an example of in central Portugal, Quinta da Insua, which is a mannerism garden open to the outdoors. And then here garden design split into branches. And that's with that, and I will leave the branch of privacy, of private gardens, and I'll take this incredible revolution, which is and landscape architecture is associated with that, and that's the rise of landscape architecture, providing all of these private wonders to the public and trying to influence the beauty of cities growing and the management of natural resources. And now the social function of a garden in a park, this is the Prospect Park in Berkeley, the modernist parks in Lisbon, the Val do Silêncio, Gulbenkian Foundation, they are wonders for the public. They are not wonders for the privates. And I think we should not forget that. I try, at least. In my work, I try not to forget this. Trying to balance that and incorporate that with other issues, but not forget that. So, the modernism, postmodernism, accentuated a bit the need to look back again to culture, to differentiate it, to reconstruct ideas. But contemporarity, it's really open to surroundings, to landscape character, to eco-environmental dimension. And there is a shift to aesthetic paradigm. Now our parks, they are surroundings again. They should provide again areas for relaxation. And if we read the past on the origin of the gardens were contrasting with the surrounding landscape. And now parks, to provide that thing again, they have to contrast with surrounding landscape again. But surrounding landscapes are not nature anymore. They are urbanized landscapes. So parks are becoming more and more influenced, not only for recreation, joy, education, but also directly to include ecosystems functioning, biodiversity, indigenous vegetation, autochthonous vegetation, and water systems functioning, adaptation to climate change, global warming, and so on. So I would say that right now, parks are including things that formerly were outside the gardens and now are coming into the parks because the outside is not so nature as that in metropolitan areas. So this is not really theory. This is a reflection that I think would like to share with you because that's my thoughts, and that's how this could be useful for all of us to change thoughts between each other. So the Pontinha Park, this is Lisbon city, not Lisbon metropolitan area, Lisbon city, with a big park of, I don't know if I can point, no, I cannot point. I think I can point with this. No, sorry. Well, you can see the Monsanto Park, this huge dark green area. And this park, which we won the competition, this is Lisbon limits, and it's really located there. One of the uppermost points one of the highest points of the main watershed, little watershed in Lisbon, the watershed of Alcântara, which runs in many places, in many areas of Lisbon. We have to adapt and conceive this park thinking about Lisbon ecological infrastructure, and it's located there, of course. We also have to think about this park in terms of its linkage to the cycling ways that are proposed for Lisbon, and we did. We have to locate that in what is right now called the peripheral ring park of Lisbon, that is being built step by step based on many different parks and trying to link the Monsanto Park towards north, direction to the north, the airport area, where the park is. So it also contributes to this. So all of these thoughts are really important. The next slide shows the isometry chart of Lisbon, and you can see where the park is located. It's right there, one of the upstream most higher points of Ribeira de Alcântara, which covers one of the most, okay, I'm gonna be faster, most of the part of Lisbon. So let's take a look on the place. I don't have beautiful pictures of the park. Just looking at the place from Google Images and aerial views, this is the parking part and the workshops, what do I call these, of Subway Lisbon, and it's surrounded by urban area. So this is the area for the park, 24, 23 hectares, and we look to the terrain. This is the highest point. Then we saw the terrain has a slope to there, and a slope to there, and another to there, and another to there. And we were asked to do retaining basins, the retaining basins, the retaining basins. And it's good to contribute to drainage solutions in Lisbon. So with this analysis of the park, and we tried to conceive something, this is the area of the park, not very interesting. Everything is interesting when we start to design a park, but you don't see a bunch of trees to be saved, or you hear a lot of trash, a lot of invasive plants, not a very dramatic topography, very so-so. So we end up coming up with a formal solution, thinking about how to include all of these thoughts, but giving to the population something that could provide for pleasure and for beauty. And so this is the general plan of the park. Let me go faster. This is the drainage we studied. This is a cross-section of the park, which is composed by these basins, large basins, which drain, infiltrates, and which collects, infiltrates, and drains water until the sewage system, but delaying this process. Also, because it was supposed to receive events, we were very lucky for that, because we had to provide these mounds, which is our landfill areas, because it was the only way to protect for the noise. So, because the terrain doesn't have any interesting topography, this was an incredible opportunity. And also we have to think about and work with engineers for the irrigation, and use the irrigation to provide different strategies. So just some visualizations and some reference imagery. We were thinking about things like these, nature, vegetation. This is the entrance of the park, replying some of the forms of the basins and the topography, but now in a welcoming water feature. and also the furniture, but always a park which could be not very formal, where we can transform a bit the soils in order to have different kind of meadows and prairies. These ones are sandy and limestone and humid. These ones are more acid. And this is the Monsanto Park in Lisbon in winter, playing with time, with chronology. This is Monsanto Park in Lisbon in winter, and this is the very same place in summer. So we think about all of these contrasts that could provide beauty and reception of recreation. So I'm going to jump. Because of all of this was very open, very large, we have to provide some art fixtures, some attracting fixtures. So we introduce some recycling of materials, like here for construction with the sculpture. We work with artists. And here we use the pools of of power transmission that were deactivated and use them with symbols of Lisbon culture and popular sense feasts and discoveries and all of that. And so the park will look something like that, probably, and with these features that will be attractive when the vegetation was not very developed yet. So where we are now? We are now in site works. They stopped during the during the pandemic. So this is the existing, just some images of that. The existing situation, starting situation, the working of the landform, and then we proposed, we didn't know, we suspected, but we didn't know that the works were going to last so long. So we really proposed the not definitive seeding to protect these soils from wind erosion and from water erosion while the park was not finishing. And what happened is that this became good, and we were just in the phase of earthworks. And with this phase of earthworks, we could already see that the topography was working very well in terms of basins, water rotation. So just some views from Google Earth, which cover Lisbon for the last 20 years each year. So this is the part of the park, the limits of the park. This is the topographic works. Here you can start seeing some depressions for the basins being built, and then the paths, the ways. Here plantations done, but this is a photo taken in summer. But you can see the dots representing not. They are real trees, planted trees. And this is a photo in winter with the retaining basins a bit more green. This is not a golf course. This is a park that is adapted to water resources management. So now some views on the ground. So again, the topographic changes, the retaining basins starting to work, the non-definitive seeding growing. That was really good because it stops for more than 1 year, the works. So this non-definitive seeding did the work. Some people appropriated some of these basins, and we were able to improve the richness, the fertility of the soil, which was very poor. And coming to that decision, this is a visit with students of my university. And now when the works start again, they mow the meadow, they input the organic matter on the poor soils, they start building the hard landscape, and that's more or less where we are now. We received the good news that the works are going to continue, though what is already done works to retain water, and so to contribute to a better drainage in our city, but it doesn't provide yet what the ancient gardens provide for people. A paradise, a place for relaxation, a place for beauty, and so we do believe it's going to do it. And I'm happy that I didn't brought here a finished project, and I brought here this ongoing process. This is how the vegetation is growing step by step. So just the conclusions is that we have to handle these nature-based solutions, or better, as we heard before nature-based systems, not only in a scientific and in engineering way, but also they are really the raw material to produce art. So we should not forget this, and this is difficult, and that's why landscape architecture is fascinating. Thank you so much for your attention.